After the first company I started got acquired by my biggest client, I thought I had made it. I went in-house for a hospital and university and big public project builder as the director of sustainability. It sounded really cool. Until I realized about a year and a half in, I was on a path to nowhere. And I started really ruminating on the idea that in order to be as valuable as I perceive myself to be to my company, I needed to get into business development. But in the construction industry, and maybe you feel this way in your industry, it's a murky purchasing process. And the only way to get in is to have these long-standing relationships with key decision makers. And as a young man, I was having a really hard time establishing that credibility. And then something happened. One day, the CEO of my company got invited to speak on a panel about smart cities in front of the Economic Development Agency of Miami. At the last minute, he was too busy and decided he couldn't go. So they sent me instead. Now I had no idea what I was getting into. But when I get there, I shared the stage with, quite frankly, a couple of people that I'm not sure I belonged on stage with. One was the head of Latin America for a big tech company, and the other was the head of the Smart Cities Initiative for an international economic development organization. And me, director of sustainability that nobody knew what it was. Luckily, it was a really well-moderated panel, and the moderator just asked me questions that I knew how to answer. It was well within my subject matter. But when I came off that stage, something extraordinary happened. There was a line 6 people deep waiting to talk to me. Now, I'd spoken in front of people before, but I had never had the celebrity effect, and it hit me. 2 things. 1, the stage is an incredibly valuable establisher of credibility. The brain justifies what it sees, not the other way around. So when someone walks in a room and they're in the audience and you're on the stage, they automatically assume that you have some kind of elevated value to offer. Second, guilty by association is the oldest trick in the branding book. And sharing the stage with a couple of people of a high ilk that you want to be associated with is extremely valuable for yourself. So I let this realization sink in, and I thought to myself, how can I provide stages for others? Now, lucky for me, I had spent the last 10 years inside the Miami community creating these young professional groups for different charities and getting on the board of different charities and establishing my network. And I thought to myself, I have an audience. I have the opportunity to create a stage for someone I would like to build a relationship with. So I reached out to a developer whose project was something that I believed in what they were doing, but it was somewhat controversial. And I told them, I want to have an event about transit-oriented development in Miami. And I know that that is a problem that your project is tackling. And I'm going to put you on stage with a politician on the board of one of my charities and a land use attorney that I know cares deeply about the subject. And I'm going to invite my audience of young professionals to talk about the future skyline of Miami and how the right projects will bring forth public transportation. The developer clearly said yes, pulled off the event, did not cost me much. About 20 people showed up. But the beauty of it was a week later, my company, was at the table backdooring into a high-profile project that before we had no chance at. So I became obsessed with this concept of leveraging stages for business development, and I wouldn't shut up about it until I got this one opportunity to be the head of business development for a startup software company. I showed up thinking that I was going to do the same thing that I had just done, except in different cities around the world. Host these events, put people up on stages, have these panels, create that interaction and create a community. But as startups tend to do, we had to change plans in order to comply with the budget. We realized that what we really wanted to do was nurture some of our key clientele. And the way we did it was we started hosting regular Zoom calls where we would show up with a little bit of value for them, and then we would allow them to exchange ideas and record these meetings. We then used parts of that content strategically across our social media channels to give exposure to our clientele, help other clients with some of the lessons learned that they were able to share, and show our ability to help our clientele way beyond what just our product could do. This effort generated close to $200,000 worth of cash flow with no cost whatsoever, by understanding that there are now stages everywhere. Not just the proverbial stage in front of an audience, but every social media channel, every podcast, every email list, every blog can be used as a stage to provide that value to the key relationships that you want to get close to. And by putting these relationships on the stage and allowing them to help your existing and potential clientele, we were acting as a key intersectional point where our clientele congregated as a community. And when you take that content and repurpose it across all these different social media channels, it extends its life and it extends the value for everybody involved. And the best part is that anybody could do this. Any business model is able to apply it. All you have to think about is who you're trying to serve, what they need beyond just the one solution that you provide, and then take inventory of your network, of your clientele, and of the people that you would love to create relationships with in order to put them on the stage that you designed to exchange that value. Then you take that content, you repurpose it, and you grow a giant web of gravitational force of value that pulls people closer to you in a systemized know, like, and trust sequence. And the best part is everybody wins. And that idea gave birth to this company. I left that startup on a quest to figure out how I can prove that the future of business development is community creation, and it's available to everybody. So I found a brilliant partner. We built a world-class team that not only offers this service to a company like yours, but uses this strategy as the way to grow our own company. So if your business is a relationship business and you want to acquire all of your customers through a win-win scenario that's valuable to everybody and creates and fosters the key relationships you need to grow your business, and you only want to spend 3 hours a week doing it, I would love to teach you how to build the perfect stage for your company.